Hello there, YouTube. My old friend that I haven't spoken to in quite a while. I am doing this live because this topic is really kind of difficult to talk about, and I wanted to sort of have the chance to just sort of ramble. Here comes the dog to try and gag in on the act. Oh, say hello, Trey. Trey, at least look at the camera. You know what I mean? If you're going to do a live broadcast, then you need to look interested at least. No? Fine, screw you. Um, so I wanted to do this as a live broadcast because I've sat down so many times to try and talk about this topic, and it's something that I find really difficult to just talk about. Even more difficult when it comes to editing it, because when I go to edit my videos, on a completely side note here, when I go to edit my videos, they are usually about 20 minutes long. And sometimes with the topic that I'm talking about, if it's quite a complicated topic, then I don't really shorten the video down a little bit. I have this habit of sort of, having a train of thought, and then I will lose the train of thought. And so for a minute, there's usually a video, like a part of the video where I'm just sort of like that. So I edit that bit out, but not much. And then other videos, it's like, okay, you did ramble a little bit too much there. Maybe, you know, while you're talking about that bit, we can sort of snip that bit in there because that would make more sense and that sort of thing. So on the topic of depression, it's not something I feel that I can sort of edit down, and something I feel that I actually shouldn't edit down. Sorry, I'm moving you closer to me so I can move further back on the couch. I could be here for a while, so I want to be comfortable in my new slippers, by the way. These turned up the other day. I love them. Right, okay, so the topic is depression, and I wanted to talk about it and obviously do it live because I haven't uploaded to this channel in a number of months. This will be the first broadcast of this year on this channel. So happy New Year to my all of my subscribers. Ages ago, I was planning on doing a broadcast for New Year's and everything like that, but it didn't turn out that way. The reason I put it down to not having turned out that way is because I am, and officially speaking, suffering with depression, and it's not a sort of bout of depression that I have a sort of handle on at the minute. And I know that sounds really, really strange. And I will explain to you where I'm coming from with my trains of thoughts and everything like that. But that's sort of just the easiest way that I could put it. Sorry, I'm just having a little look at my microphone settings because it's actually showing that my microphone is being really, really quiet. So you might have to turn the volume down in a minute because I'm going to try and turn my mic up a little bit because it's my microphone level is on 0, and that's not a good thing. You don't have to have worked in the entertainment industry for that long to realize that's not a good thing for your microphone level to be on 0. So let's see, if I put it about there, is that a bit louder? What about there? Is that better? That should be a bit better. Oh god, and I think I'm starting with a cold as well, and that just doesn't help at all. There we go. I think that'll do for microphone level. So there we go. Okay, now that all the faffing is out of the way, this round of depression that I've got at the moment is not the first time I've had to deal with depression in my life. Back in 2001, I think it was, my parents got a divorce, and I was 12, around about 12 years old, the time that actually happened. So I'm going to turn the TV off because that's distracting me. I was around about 12 years old when that happened, and that was really difficult to go through. But I think I managed to go through it okay. Like I didn't think, I was doing too much of a bad job handling it. But when I got into high school, and something that I've spoken about on here before is that I came out about my sexuality in high school, And that did sort of give me a few problems, to the point when I was in the final year of high school, I'd been talking quite a bit with the counselor that the school had there. I was still sort of coming to terms with who I was, with my own sexuality, my own identity. Um, there was lots of things that I was struggling with and I needed help with. So I remember going to see her one time and she handed me this questionnaire and just said, fill that in. So I'm like, okay. So I filled it in, took it back to her like a day or two later. And she said, you need to go and see your doctor because I think you've got depression. Take this with you. So I took the questionnaire to go and show my doctor. And my doctor prescribed me basically some really strong antidepressants. And this is like 15 or 16 years old. And it was at the point my mother actually turned around and said, you're not taking them. They're too strong. That doctor should not have prescribed them to you. So I was given a sort of herbal alternative. Now, at the time that I was taking the herbal alternative, people did say to me, you have changed. Your mood is a lot better. You're sort of coming out of your bedroom more. And, we like this. And then it sort of just fell to nothing. I sort of was able to sort of pick myself up and everything like that. And then I obviously left high school, and I was over the moon about that anyway, because I just hated going to school. I really did hate it. And I think that's why I was so against going off to college afterwards, but that's for another video. So I started working. I moved out, and I moved town into living with friends, and that went really, really well. And then the friendships soured a lot because I was living with a lesbian couple, and the friendship sort of went sour. So I ended up moving back with my mum, and I think I'd been living with my mum a couple of months, something like that, and my depression flared up. And what I noticed about my depression that time was that I wanted the world away from me. And it wasn't like I was going to go and do anything stupid. It wasn't to be like a protection for other people, that sort of thing. It was just to sort of protect me. I just wasn't ready to handle the real world. And yeah, that was fun. So that period of depression lasted a couple of weeks. And then I sort of started coming out a little bit more, and I started a new job, and that was good. But even when because I started working at a very famous, well-known three-letter branded chicken fast food restaurant. Do you know the one I'm talking about here? And my depression did flare up while I was working there, and I took a week off work, well, just short of a week. And it was the same sort of thing again. I was just sat in my bedroom, didn't want anything to do with anyone. I wasn't answering my phone, wasn't answering text messages, that sort of thing. I just wasn't interested. And yeah, so then we come to, because like after that, I had another job, made new friends, everything was going fine. Moved into my own place, that was fine. And life seemed to be going quite good. And then I don't know what has triggered this latest round of depression. I really, really don't. But I guess it was from probably early early last year, I would say, is when I first started dealing with it. Well, not dealing with it, but suffering with it. And that was difficult because it just sort of creeps in, and it gets to a certain stage and you go, something isn't right with me here. And last year, I came really close to losing my nan, or Nana, as I call her. But in official terms, she's my grandmother. So I suppose everyone now knows what the relation is there. So, we came so close to losing her, and I am really, really close with her. And that was really hard to go through. Um, and it was just the worst time. Like I remember I um had a gig to do on on a Sunday, which was a christening, and I got a phone call from my mum in the morning because what had happened was my nana had gone in for a hernia operation, but she was 88. So it's sort of like there is going to be risks, and we were told, she's going to go on the high dependency unit for the night after she's had the operation, age, and we want to make sure that she's okay and everything like that. And the day that she had the operation, we didn't hear anything from anyone all day at the hospital. We tried ringing loads, and we went down later on, and it was a couple of days later, and we spoke with the anesthetist, and she said, well, the reason that the actual operation went perfect, but we had trouble bringing her round from the operation. She wasn't breathing for herself, and you're like, oh shit. And yeah, so they did some extra scans and that sort of thing because she had to stay on the high dependency unit because something wasn't right. So they did these extra scans, and they said, okay, we found that you've got a deflated lung, and there is an 8 centimeter blood clot, which is quite close to your heart. So the blood clot, we're not too bothered about that. Will probably break down by itself and move on. That's okay. We're going to keep an eye on it, but it's not a major thing. The lung, we're going to have to operate on, and this is a serious operation. And we basically got told in no like uncertain circumstances, she will be on a ventilator when she comes round from the operation from on the lung. If she doesn't start to breathe for herself, that's it. So already you're on edge. And I remember on the Sunday, um, yeah, I had a gig to do in the afternoon, and I remember getting a phone call from my mum at about 9:30 or 10 in the morning, um, and sort of feeling like looking at my phone, about to answer and thinking something isn't right here. And I answered, and my mum was in just floods of tears, and she said, "I've had a phone call from the hospital. We need to go down. They're asking for us to go down now." And I was like, "There's nothing I can do. I can't get cover for this gig, um, and I'm busy after the gig, and shit sort of thing." And that really, really sucked. That day was just the worst. Which, on a separate side note to that, I thought when I got to this gig, I thought, okay, first song, I'm going to play Jess Glynn, and she had like this new single that had come out called "Hold My Hand," and I thought that's sort of like a happy song, everything like that. Oh my god, never play that song when you don't want to cry, because like I was on stage, and there's some like magic act on the stage as well, so all the stage lights are on. Like I'm in clear view of all of these people. I played that song, and the lyrics sort of really rang home with me. And I was just like, I'm stood there on the stage, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to cry. I can't cry. There's 200 odd people in this room. Don't cry. And it was so hard to go through that day. And my nana, after that, she was in hospital for another, I think it's about another 3 weeks. Yeah, I think it was about 3 weeks altogether after that day. She made a full recovery, so thank God for that. But I never sort of recovered from that period of time. We were at the hospital all day and night. We didn't move in. Obviously, we would get there for daytime visiting. So we were there for 11:30, 12, something like that. And we would be leaving about 8 o'clock, half eight at night. And you're thinking, okay, those are not really the longest hours. But when you're on edge and you're sat waiting, that is the most draining thing ever. So of course she starts getting better. She gets moved onto a normal ward, and it gets to the point where other family members can go in and see her. And so you're like, okay, well, you go in the afternoon, we'll go in the evening, that sort of thing. But what really struck me was the tiredness. I just started to feel tired all the time. And it didn't matter if I'd had like the perfect night's sleep, I would wake up and still feel tired. Um, and that was the main thing for me that made me think, okay, something isn't right here. She came out of hospital and for a week or two was staying at my mother's. Now, where my mother lives is about 40, 50 minutes away from me, something like that, walking. And some days I was too tired to manage that walk. I would get up and I would just be trying my best to get back to sleep, to thinking, I'll feel a little bit more awake. I just need more sleep. And then you can't get off to sleep. And it was horrible. And yeah, my mood started to change a lot. I lost last year about probably about two or three friendships. Um, and they were people that had been really, really close to me. And, for one reason or another, it it took its toll on me. And yeah, I lost them as friends. And it's been really difficult because I'm still not over the depression by any stretch of the imagination here. But I got back talking with them people. I've explained my situation to them. And, you know, it's not to see that those friendships are going to come back to being normal or anything like that. But, you know, even just to get in touch with them is sort of a big deal for me at the minute. And that's really not like me. Like, I was only thinking the other week, like up until actually creating this event to do this video, I hadn't looked at this channel's statistics or the list of videos that I have on. I hadn't looked at that in months. And there is so many things that have been happening in the media and everything like that recently that I want to have a rant about. And I just find it impossible to have the concentration to sit down and to talk to a camera. I've wanted to record this video, this depression video, for months, and I've just not had it in me to actually go ahead and do it. So I think it would have been, let's see, about September last year-ish, August or September, I think, when I first went to my doctor and said, I need help, basically. I was referred for counselling, and a couple of weeks after that, I went back and I just said, okay, I need more help than this. So they put me onto medication, and like even now, I'm still sort of new to that medication, even all these months later. So, like, I personally think that the dosage that I'm on of the medication isn't strong enough for me. It's supposed to be 30 milligrams a day of citalopram. If anyone's ever heard of that medication, that's what I'm on. And yeah, I don't think that's strong enough. And I'm not relying just on the medication. That's one of the things that I've had drilled into me for many a year now. Don't just rely on the medication, because that's not going to change anything. I need to deal with the actual root cause of my depression. I need to find out what that is. And so then I will be able to deal with it, and so hopefully then move on. Is the sort of long-term plan of that. But whether it actually turns out like that, or not, I don't know. So it's weird having depression around this time, and I wanted to talk about it not only because it's me that's suffering with it, and not only because I haven't uploaded to this channel in however long. It's no reason like that. It's because I see so many things on social media, and it's like, don't say this to a person with depression, and don't say that, and do this, and do that, and whatever. And it's just like some of the things that I read, and I'm just like, that's pathetic. You know, we are all different people. Wherever you are in the world, we're all different. And depression is a worldwide problem. But each person that has depression wants to deal with it in a different way. Some people who have depression will probably find that, yeah, they just need medication and that's it. They are back to being what society will class as normal. Other people need counseling. They need some sort of therapy. They need to go and talk about stuff. Other people, there's just so many different ways of trying to deal with depression that it's impossible to say this is the way that works for all people with depression, because it's not. Like, some of the things that I've seen is where people are saying, you know, if you have a person who is suffering with depression, don't ask them why they're suffering with depression, and that doesn't work for me. You know, I will sometimes say to people, if they say I suffer with depression, and I'll just say, okay, what do you think the cause of that is? And if they don't know, they will just say, I don't know. You know, and if you're dealing with a person who is suffering with depression, maybe they just need someone to talk to, someone to feel like a friend. That's all that they might need, you know. Um, Interestingly enough, my depression has led me in a weird way to potentially being on TV. Isn't that fun? Um, I am sort of being interviewed, I think you would say, for a TV show. And it's about people who live on the benefit system over here in the UK. There's a couple of different programs that they might put me forward for. And all as I know is that tomorrow they're having this meeting, and I should get a phone call or message to say, yes, you're in the show, or no, you're not, or we might revise it again in a couple of months. It could be whatever. So I've I've got to wait and hear back about that. So that's fun. Um, yeah, the whole thing with my depression, it's difficult to talk about because I want to be able to sit here and say I will be uploading videos starting next week, and I will be doing this and I'll be doing that. But the truth of the matter is, this YouTube channel has no schedule to stick to. So when it comes to sort of wanting to record a video, the biggest part of me is just going, screw it. Who's going to watch it anyway? What's the point? There's too many people who disagree with your opinion and that sort of thing. And I never used to think that with this channel. I always used to think, well, screw it. You don't have to think the same way that I do. But doing a channel like this, and this is sort of a little insider secret here, but doing a channel like this, you've got to have a thick skin, because if you're putting your opinion out there online, there is always going to be people who disagree with you. Like I found out yesterday, but I'll tell you about that in a minute. So you've got to have a thick skin, because a lot of people these days, instead of wanting to sort of talk to you about whatever your opinion is on whatever topic, a lot of people just go, you're wrong, I'm right, this is why you're wrong. And it is wrong for people to do that. You'd have thought that people would have learned to debate. Like yesterday, Huffington Post has this sort of gay section where it reports about gay news, and it was known as HuffPost Gay Voices, and they have now rebranded and they've called it HuffPost Queer. And I actually got really offended by that because that is a term, like when I was going through high school, it would be used in a really derogatory way at me. You know, it'd be like, "Oh, you're a queer, fuck off, queer," that sort of thing. So queer is an offensive term in my eyes. You know, it's like I wouldn't be offended by someone calling me a faggot because I always just think, okay, a faggot is a meatball in gravy. How's that offensive? But I have Jay and Brian over in California, and they will get offended if you call them a faggot because over there, that's an offensive term, but queer isn't. It's weird how it's the same language but different things for different people. Whatever. um. So yeah, so I was really unhappy about that, and I tweeted them and said, I don't like you using the term queer. I find that offensive, and I know that other people do. And that's when I started getting like abuse from loads of American, what I call queens. These are basically the sort of gay men that are like, it's not just LGBT, it's like LGBT, and then they just recite the whole alphabet afterwards. you know, and they're like, LGBT doesn't cover the whole of the community. And it's like, yeah, it does. And then they say about this other term of sexuality, and it's like, oh god, I can't even remember what it's called now, but it's something like these people can love like anything, regardless of gender. So in the back of my mind, I'm just going, is that bisexual? Because it doesn't matter about gender. If you fancy someone, if you love someone, gender doesn't really matter. You love that person. Oh, like it's stupid. But yeah, I don't agree with it being changed from LGBT to like all of these other things, especially with the term queer in it, because I find that a fuck of offensive. Um, so yeah, that's fun. And my Twitter literally exploded. I was getting a lot of inboxes, not inboxes. What do they call them now? It's not moments. It's the mentions. Is it? I don't know what the fuck it is. But yeah, I was getting a lot of abuse through doing that, and you're thinking, I have an opinion on this, and people can't just seem to sort of go, okay, that's his opinion. It's not mine, but whatever. They have to challenge you on it. You have to think the same way that they do, and it's kind of retarded if you ask me, but whatever. um, so yeah, that's fun. I have tried where I can to sort of stay active on social media, minus YouTube. Um, and yeah, it's difficult to say when this load of depression is going to go from me, when I'm going to start uploading videos again. Um, you know, it's like the the other thing that I have on YouTube mainly is the uh, Life with Bev blog, and the reason I stopped filming that was because the old camera that I had died. Basically, like you'd turn it on, but the motor that sort of pushed the lens forward, like one of them extended things, wouldn't work, and then on the screen it'd just come up and say lens error, and then turn itself off. Um, so yeah, I've had to let that camera go after many many years of working with it, and then I didn't have a camera for ages to film, but I didn't really want to because I wasn't doing anything amazing. And then this is where the tiredness kicks in again now. Um, and then yeah, I got a camera bought for me on Christmas Day by my boyfriend, and I've been filming little bits, and I've only just now got around to editing videos, and I've managed to do 3 of them, and I've uploaded them to YouTube, and now I just sort of sit here and go, okay, I have nothing to edit. I have no plans of stuff that I can like go and film without filming the same thing every week. Um, it's crazy, and I think depression has a lot to do with that. You know, in the past, I think the usual me would have, especially to my boyfriend, have turned around and said, you know, let's go here and I'll film here and that sort of thing. And I just haven't wanted to go out anywhere. I've wanted to stay in. I literally live in my pajamas these days, which is why I'm so happy about new slippers. That's exciting to me for some reason. And yeah, life is pretty tough at the minute. So yeah, let me just finish off by saying one thing though. I am doing this video to say I'm suffering with depression because I don't want to suffer in silence. I don't want other people who are suffering with depression to feel alone because they're not alone. You know, loads of people suffer with depression and it is really, really hard to deal with. But the main thing about all of this video, I'm not doing this for sympathy. So please, please don't just go and comment below saying like, "Oh, I hope you're feeling better soon" or something like that, because it's not beneficial to anyone really, you or me. Um, I I am doing what I can to sort of deal with depression, but pardon me, whether what I am doing to sort of deal with this illness is going to work, I don't know. I really can't say. Pardon me. It's a thing of hit and miss. So yeah, that's basically it. So thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me ramble, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. So see you later.